to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Because maybe
The crystal ball was named after the Empress Duang VI of China, although there is no evidence that links the piece to the famous ruler. Who made the sphere and when are still a mystery to this day. The object's donor purchased it from Wanamaker's department store in 1927. When the object's donor was willing to buy from Wanamaker's store, he offered $50,000. Sadly, Wanamaker died shortly after due to a fall, and the object was then donated to the Penn Museum. Made of pure quartz and weighing 49 pounds, the ball was created by constant turning its subversive power and water. It is the third largest in the world.
Yeah. Weezy back home smoking.
Owning jewelry was very common in ancient times, especially in Israel, which is the part of the museum where these photos were taken. Jewelry was made out of many materials, like glass, gold, steel, gems, limestones, ceramics, and more. Some of the most common types of jewelry were earrings, bracelets, necklaces, pendants, and anklets. Jewelry was worn by everyone during these times, whether you had the money or not. Jewelry was worn as it is today as a fashion statement. It was also used to dress up things like statues and royal tombs.
Lyrics coming at you with supersonic speed. You assuming I'm a human. What I gotta do to get it through to you? I'm superhuman, innovative, and I made a rubber so that anything you say is shaking off of me and it'll glue to you and devastating more than ever, demonstrating how to give a motherfucking audience a feeling like.
Funerary mask protected the face and head of the deceased. The gilded face suggests the deceased now have skin of gold, like that of the gods, and have joined them in the afterlife. From the Middle Kingdom to the 1st century, the ancient Egyptians placed the stylus mask onto the faces of the dead. The funerary mask served to guide the spirits of the deceased back to its final resting place in the body. These masks were commonly made of cloth covered plastered, which were then painted for design. At the end of the 8th century BC, the warrior of Norse Tomb 43 was cremated and then buried with his armor, clothing, etc. These represent a family's symbolic choices for remembering the deceased as a warrior by displaying his armor and as a leader by providing him with vessels for public feasting. The picture above shows both a bronze helmet and bronze vest. A commander's helmet was allowed to be seen from a distance by his fellow peers. This is a decorate with geometric patterns. It is one of the 2 helmets buried with the warrior. The bronze vest would protect the warrior in hand-to-hand combat situations. Only the front section is preserved. Its geometric pattern matched those on the crested helmet. Large memorial poles were carved in the 19th century by artists from the village of Masset, British Columbia. The poles is a distinct feature of the Indians of the Pacific coast of Canada. Carved with many myths of animal symbols and particular families, poles are erected as a memorial to individuals or clans. In the past, interior house posts supported roofs and exterior frontal poles were attached to the front of buildings as decoration. A third kind of pole contained the coffin of the dead. Poles are still carved today to mark the importance and occasions of memorials. This large memorial pole belonged to Amos Johnson of Masset and tells the story of a bear hunter. From bottom to top, the carved figures represent a bear-like human figure, an otter, a huge bear with extended tongue, a small bear's head, and a pole made of 4 skulls, representing a bear's cub at the top. On each side of the pole are two frog-like creatures, and sitting on each of the bear's ears are watchmen wearing a clan hat. The coins shown in the picture above were coins used during the Late Bronze Age and Early Iron Age. When the dumps were stuck with an emblem, their value and origin then became in effect and known as the first true coin. They appeared around 650 BC in western Anatolia, where the official Germanic Greeks interacted with the non-Greek inhabitants of Lydia, located in the central Anatolia. One of the most common emblems used for the coin was animals. Throughout the history, the ancient Greeks expressed a strong appreciation for animals, whether it was because of their perceived characteristics such as beauty, wilderness, etc. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, a series of tombs were excavated at the site of Civita Musarna. These tombs contain the stone sarcophaga, which is one of the five here at the University of Pennsylvania. The lids are all decorated with reclining figures. Two of the ones at the museum are bejeweled women reclining with fans as if it is a banquet. Three show reclining men. Several are inscribed with the name of the deceased and his or her age of death.